Remember that one pony that almost threw me off when I went to go and view her? Well, if you don't, a few weeks back, I decided to go on a big road trip and view many ponies since I was starting a lesson program. And one of those ponies I visited was on Paddock Island next to Jarlaheim. And she is a Connemara mare, and she is disciplined in hunting, jumping, all sorts of things actually, which had to do with jumping. I think she might have even gone eventing once. So that's interesting. And she's called Freya. She's very sweet, you think. Overall, she's very sweet and such a stunning mare. And she seems really kid-friendly, but lately things have not been going too well with her. So when I went to go and view her at Paddock Island, she was actually very sweet while I was brushing her, taking her up, riding her. There was only one time when she refused for a jump and I almost fell off. And she had a little happy buck because she was so energetic, because she is only 4 years old. And the first week, when we rode her at home, that was exactly the pony she was. Actually, the first few weeks. She was wonderful, but I could never find a fitting saddle for her, which obviously wasn't good for her back, and we knew this. It didn't fit. She was starting to throw fits, which was honestly reasonable, so reasonable, and we immediately switched saddles. Like, I tried so many saddles on her and it just didn't work, to the point where we actually had to stop riding her with saddle. But she even got very annoyed without saddle, so now we're thinking it might be something with her back instead of the saddle. So lately, when we've been riding her in the lessons, I've only put like riders on her which were 18 and knew hard horses, worked with difficult horses before, like just for her priority and the rider's priority, because we want everything to be safe and healthy for the horses and the rider. So and these riders have been telling me that she has been unwilling to bend, she's lacking pace, and overall, especially at the end, she started throwing fits. She started trying to get the rider off her back, and yeah, it's not looking good. She's not safe to ride, and it's also not healthy for her to ride. Like, she's obviously in pain, she is in discomfort. So I decided it's no longer in our hands, and I'm taking Freya with me to Jorvik stables, where they have an amazing equine medical facility. So we are going to the vet, and Freya's gonna probably stay there for a few days so they can do all sorts of tests and figure out what is wrong with Freya, her back. Is it even her back? Is it her neck, maybe? Her legs? Like, what is going on with this pony and how can we help her? So we're on our way now, and I'll catch you guys up there. So upon arrival, it was actually quite hectic. There was a festival going on at the Jorvik stables, so there were many riders here with horses, and many trailers, many parking spots were just completely filled out, and there were just horses, riders, viewers everywhere. So at one point it was annoying, but at the other side it was actually quite fun, because when we had to wait, we could actually just go and look around at all of the shows going on. But of course, Freya was our priority, always. So we put her in a box where she could rest for a few days while all of this was going on and while all of the medical examinations were happening. So our first medical examination is in an hour-ish, so we're just gonna go and grab lunch, and then we're gonna go back to the stables and grab Freya and get this medical examination journey started. So let me actually talk you guys through what was happening. I first had to run with her on hand, just so they could see her natural movements without the pressure of a rider on her back, as well as some bending exercises, which showed us that she was walking normally and it wasn't specifically the neck. So the vet started putting some pressure on different areas just to see if she would react to it, which she did a little at the top just by her withers and her back. And again, she didn't really react to her neck and also not to her head and hind. So it really was the saddle area. So after really looking at the results and talking everything through, we wanted to do some further testing just to clearly figure out and see what was going on inside her body. Which was when we had to leave since it was already later in the day. Leaving Freya without a clear answer to her problems was kind of tough to do, but I knew she was in safe hands and soon we would find her a solution. I stayed in a hotel close to the stables, which actually happened to be the hotel I stayed in when I went to go and view her, as it was in the big city. So that was a lovely coincidence. One thing I absolutely love about this clinic is that they provide the camera access of your horse's stable. So you can check up on your horse even though you're not there. So now I'm just in bed checking what she's doing, but she's just staring away. So, vet just called me, they did test this morning and the results are in, so let's actually go there and see what's wrong. So for your guys' information, the veterinarian team ran some more tests this morning and actually made a few x-rays on Freya. Okay, I just spoke to the vets and it's double-sided, the news. So without the difficult medical terms, Freya has what is called kissing spine. And if you don't know what kissing spines is, then it's good to actually listen because it actually presents itself in 39% to over 80% of horses. But basically, kissing spines is when the vertebrae in the horse's spine are too close together and they rub against each other, which as you can imagine is kind of sore. Which is also why some of them tend to have big reactions. Kissing spine isn't just that the horse's back is sore, because it causes a lot of secondary issues because of the compensations from the pain in the back. So for Freya, she was compensating her pain, which was making her neck sore. So with symptoms, it really is different with every horse. Some horses have a lot of symptoms and some only barely. So for Freya, it was that she was reluctant to go forward, which can result in wearing, bucking, lots of theatrics. But also being angry while she was in pain during riding, but also brushing and tacking up, since she obviously understood that that led up to the riding and so being in pain. Kissing spine is also a degenerative condition, which means that over time it's gonna get worse. So how do we treat it? Well, that's where our luck comes in a little bit. Freya doesn't have severe kissing spines. She actually has it in one of the lowest grades, so we are being offered steroid injections. So in the time that the injections would give us, whether to take away Freya's pain, we are able to make sure to try and strengthen her back and improve her core strength by working with it on the ground. So in the time that the injections would give us, where they would take away Freya's pain, we are to make sure to try and strengthen her back and improve her core strength by working with her on the ground and stop riding. However, another option, if the injections don't work, we want to skip that option and go straight to a surgical option. We can either do a ligament snip or we can do a bone shave, which is not as common and is only really if the spine is already fused together, which in Freya's case is not. And with the ligament snip, it does have a pretty high success rate, where a lot of horses go back to competing at high levels, or at very least being able to happily ride under the saddle. So for Freya, we have the option to take the steroid injections or the ligament snip, which is where I had to make a tough decision. I want what is best for Freya, since she is young and I don't want her to go through a long process of finding other ways to soften or remove her pain than going immediately into surgery. Hence why I chose the ligament snip. So Freya is staying here for a few more weeks, which means that I have to go home without her. She will get surgery one of these days, and then when it's time for her to safely travel home, she will come back. For her own health in the foreseeable future, I have chosen not to continue Freya's journey as a lesson horse. I want to give Freya all the time in the world to heal, strengthen her body, and make sure she can have the best possible life in a few years. But that doesn't mean she will go away. That would be unfair to her or anyone who buys her. Besides, I have grown quite attached to her. I will keep her as my personal horse and will give her all the time she needs. And if everything works out, we can still have a fun competing journey ahead. I will do an update on Freya soon when she had the surgery and she comes back home.